Pro Group Management. Workers' comp that works for you.
Welcome to Nevada Newsmakers. On the broadcast today, Major General Ondre joins us. He's Adjutant General for the Nevada National Guard. Here for the whole show on an all-new Nevada Newsmakers.
Save money and take transit. Did you know you can ride the bus all day for less than what it would cost you for a gallon of gas? Plan your trip now by going to rtcwashoe.com.
Welcome to the Winnemucca Big R.
Hi, I'm John Walker. Welcome to Big R Lovelock.
Hi, I'm Rich Martin. Welcome to Fallon Big R.
My name is Braden. Welcome to Big R Fernley.
Hi, I'm Kelly. Welcome to Big R Sparks.
As you know, Reno is booming. Toll's development company is helping it grow with insightful design and development, building community with every project, adding beauty, adding excitement, emphasizing our shared humanity. Reno is becoming bigger. Toll's development is helping it become better, more livable, more enjoyable. To learn more, go to tollsdevelopment.com. tollsdevelopment.com.
Turn your clunker into a caddy during the Cadillac and Cash giveaways at Tamarack Casino. Weekly cash drawings including $5,000 cash and one top prize of $10,000. Win the grand prize of a Cadillac CT4 or $40,000 in cash. Your good times are at Tamarack Casino.
This is Nevada Newsmakers with host Sam Shad, a no-holds-barred political forum. Now, from the Nevada Newsmakers broadcast headquarters, here is Sam Shad.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, we are pleased to welcome to the program in this role for the first time, Major General Ondre. He's the Adjutant General of the Nevada National Guard, but we have known each other for decades.
Long time.
Going back to your time with the Reno Police Department when you were one of the top leaders there. I find it fascinating to draw the parallel between your position now and the fact that Joe Lombardo, former sheriff, is now the governor of the state. How has that relationship been going?
Well, and I tell people this, in all sincerity. I think he's known me obviously a while, and you know how people are in law enforcement think in terms of decision making, problem solving, and the transition between himself and the Nevada National Guard and me has just been seamless, and he allows me to do my job. We stay in touch where appropriate. He understands all the nuances that come with law enforcement, which are very similar to the military. He was formerly in the military, so he understands that also. So from a standpoint of having a boss that was a former law enforcement person, it's been just a very easy transition for us. Very supportive. You try not to, one of the things I always think about is I want to be less on his plate in terms of things he has to do. So we work very hard at just keeping them informed, but this is like, for somebody who sits in this seat, and I always remind people I have 53 other people like me across the nation. They always tell me I got it pretty good. Right. So I appreciate that, and I appreciate him for all he does to support us.
Well, one of the things I cracked up about was there was an article written about him by Tabitha Mueller in the Nevada Independent, and one of the quotes he said when talking about getting people to come back to work as against working from home, and he referred to it and said, well, that's why they call it a job. So that's kind of the down-to-earth kind of person with a little bit of a sense of humor there that gets thrown in.
He's very matter-of-fact, and so he expects, he talks about, I won't say exactly how he says it, but he wants to get things done.
Yes.
And I always believe it's all about, productivity, accountability, getting the work done, and we have to be good stewards for the citizens of Nevada, and I agree with that 100%. And the quality of life of this state, and we have to be great stakeholders of making sure that we do what we are hired to do, and so that's all he really asks. And we are very front-facing in terms of state government, military. People can identify with you. So, and I still believe that in the military, we are one of those organizations that people trust. And so, high responsibility to do this. And so when he came in talking about our expectations, I'm like, heck yes, we're on board with that, because that's really in alignment with my philosophy, leadership style. So that works.
Interim Finance Committee didn't seem to have any problems approving your budgets last week.
Right. And, I like to believe that the last two legislative sessions have been extremely supportive of the military. And we work very hard at being transparent, telling people what's going on. And we are a growth organization. We do great with recruiting, we do great with retention, we do great with gaining force structure, we do great with missions. When they go down range, they do good. So when the Interim Finance Committee, we made a request, they were, and I was, going back and forth and communicating with some of the legislatures, they support us 100%. And this is if I don't say anything else today, I just want to remind people that this is a very pro-military state, and we're so appreciative that they have our backs, knowing the environment that we're responsible for, whether abroad or on the homeland. So I remind my peers, I said, man, this is a great place to be and a great place to work, because whether it be our legislators, our CODELs, our senators, assemblymen, and congressmen, I mean, it is just phenomenal to work in an environment to know that people support what you do, have your back, and are cheering you on because they know what we're responsible for on a day-to-day basis.
And it's remarkable when you look at Congress and the dysfunction of Congress, that the military budget for Fallon and the expansion of that range got passed.
Yes.
And that says a lot about our congressional delegation on all sides. I want to talk to you, if I may, and obviously there are some things you can share and some things you can't, so I do understand that. But with what happened this past weekend, we're taping this on the morning of April 15th, and this weekend was where Iran attempted to attack Israel. They launched close to 300 weapons between drones, cruise missiles, etc., and it was rebuffed. But my question to you is, how does that work for the Nevada National Guard? Do you suddenly get a conference call? Because the United States, obviously, and Israel knew about this 3 days in advance. Mm-hmm. Do you get a call, a text, an email saying, be prepared? Because we know that Las Vegas, in any situation, is going to be potentially a target for a retaliation of some kind. Share with us what you can.
So you have a responsibility, and we get you can get regular intelligence briefings to tell you what's going on in the world. That's the best way to say it. And my responsibility is to have ready forces, no matter if they're here or if they're deployed somewhere in the world. Matter of fact, we just had some of our personnel just come back that were over in the Middle East. So your number one responsibility is just to have ready forces. I don't sit in the room where decisions are made where they may be sent or deployed. We're kept up to speed what may happen next in terms of your forces, but that's why our number one strategic priority is readiness. We had some sense of what could potentially be happening. You're kept up to speed where the world is at, some of the threats, some of the nations, our allies, our partners, in terms of what they're dealing with. But our number one responsibility is just to stay ready, because you just don't know. And when we say always ready, always there as the National Guard, that's my responsibility. And that's why I talk about we can't negotiate on making sure the force is prepared, because you don't know what will be next. And it's a very, very dangerous world right now. And we know that I wish I could say that the threats would decrease or it would get better. I think we have to be prepared for whatever comes next, because it is not a very safe world right now. But number one, we are kept informed when something potentially may be happening, but in terms of the responsibility, I just have to have it ready for us.
So at any time, you're ready to stage into Las Vegas or even potentially Reno if something were to occur.
Yes, and I also remember sometimes people don't understand how the Guard works, but you have a federal mission which comes under the purview of, we'll say, the president. But if the governor, who's also our commander-in-chief, says that I need additional forces, I need to put people on state active duty, there's some threats we're concerned about. We work very closely, with their staff. At any time, he could put us on state active duty. We play a big part in the cyber threats efforts that are out there as the National Guard. But depending on what happens, if he calls, or again, from a federal standpoint, we're asked to be responsible, be ready, we can do that. I remind people that when you look at where the military is today, and I like to speak for our responsibilities as the National Guard, we can do the mission globally, we can do the mission on the homeland. And all we have to know is what's the responsibility, what's the calling, and it's very strict guidelines in terms of what we can be responsible or accountable for. But if we get called, we'll be there.
So there were 2 huge cyber attacks in Las Vegas over the last few months, one with the MGM and one with Caesars.
Mm-hmm.
Did they involve you? I know 60 Minutes did a big piece on it last night on CBS. Was the Guard involved with cybersecurity experts as well in trying to figure out, first of all, who was doing this, and then the resulting chase?
No, the Guard was not involved, but I can tell you we're very much attuned to what happened. From a preventative standpoint, I can tell you that the governor has really put a lot of time, attention, effort, and now resources into ensuring that we have a very, very strong cyber protection team, cyber task force. This is something we talk about on a regular basis. One of the things about private entities, they have pretty good systems and security and responsibilities that they put in place that we stay in touch with, but we were not called in to assist, but we were kept abreast of what was going on. But I will tell you that this is an area you cannot do enough in terms of resources, in terms of understanding, in terms of intervention, in terms of security or barriers to keep it out, because I always remind people that cyber is just as important as going to war in terms of how you can be attacked and taking down your systems in terms of what they can do to restrict what you have the ability to do. So we pay very, very, very close attention. Matter of fact, this last session, this was the first time we had gotten resources as a Nevada National Guard to really start to bump up. We've put a good plan in place. I can tell you we have some of the sharpest people out there who understand it far better than I do, I can tell you that. But they lean in hard because it's changing on a regular basis. And it's almost like, every time you put a defense up, it's like they figure out how to penetrate it. You have to stay on top of it. And if you don't stay proactive with cyber protection, the threats are real. So we put a lot of time and attention to that. So going back to your question, we weren't involved, but we're very much aware of what happened.
Okay, so one of the things that came out of that story was that a lot of this is youth, 25 years of age down to teenagers, and that they have now collaborated with the Russians who are doing the same thing into a giant criminal enterprise. Is there anything that you can say correlates with what was going on when you were in law enforcement on a regular basis? Was there this kind of activity, and I don't mean cyber, but this kind of organized activity?
Technology, as a leader, if you are not paying attention to the changes that are going on in society, technology, social media, where the world is at, you're going to lose. Because now kids have grown up with devices, they have grown up learning games, they have grown up, with a different mindset of how to penetrate and work through systems, and information technology is just different today. We did not have to deal with that in law enforcement. It was more juvenile type of things that were out there in terms of, misdemeanors or petty things that today, because they've grown up with it and they understand it. I recently went to artificial intelligence class, and I tell people, I was like, I think the world passed me by because, oh my gosh. And just because you just don't know what's real and what's put into place, and the ability to manipulate or to use to your advantage. And so it's not an issue of if or when, it's how. And if you don't understand what's required, the protections, how it's used, the advantages, the disadvantages, if you don't understand that, it will consume you and take you over. So we didn't have to deal with that when I was coming up. We just saw the minor things that kids were doing. But today, if you're in a room, you have access to a computer, and you have the knowledge, and we learned now that, I learned recently that some of the things that that were coming into even our organization in terms of what people were using was really being manipulated from overseas by Russians. And it blew me away that what can be done today to disrupt an organization or people, or you look at some of the messages that are out there right now, and how it's put out into social media or the media. I'll even say, is it real, or where does it come from? And I have learned you just don't know. So you better make sure you have good people who stay ahead of the game. You're constantly learning, constantly developing, because the world is very different. And this is a message to parents out there. Please know what your kids are doing. Please know what they're involved in. Please know what they have access to. Please know who has access to them, because the world is different today. And the way to get to your kids, we didn't have to worry about that from a technology standpoint like they do today.
Let's take a break, and we'll come back with more with Major General Ondre Berry, Adjutant General of the Nevada National Guard, after this time out.
Like a traditional handmade basket, retail is woven into the fabric of life in Nevada. From big box to mom and pop, retail supports our communities in countless ways. Jobs for the disabled, team uniforms for kids, help for the elderly, and so much more. Retail employs over 1 in 10 workers. Retail supports Nevada, and we support retail.
RANNV.org.
The Nevada Builders Alliance has been protecting the interests of the construction industry for over 50 years. Our programs save members thousands of dollars every year and allow them to provide much-needed benefits to their employees. Our industry also allows Nevada to grow. If you're thinking about a career in the construction industry, reach out. And if you haven't thought of a career in construction, what are you waiting for? We are the Nevada Builders Alliance.
What do you count on? You count on your power every day. At NV Energy, we've always powered what's important to you, but we're not looking at the past. We're focused on the future. While our standards are high, our rates will remain low. And our commitment to renewables isn't just meeting standards, but leading the way. Because you can count on more than just your power. You can count on the company who brings it to you. That's our promise. You can count on it.
Safety is the #1 priority for the trucking industry. Over $7 billion a year is spent on technology like this electronic eye that will apply the brakes automatically. But the most important factor for safety is the truck driver. These hardworking men and women who safely move over 70% of our nation's freight and 94% of Nevada's. We thank you, because trucks move America forward.
This is Nevada Newsmakers.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, we continue our conversation with Major General Ondre Berry. He is Adjutant General of the Nevada National Guard. One of the things I was looking at as I was researching for this interview was that the Guard was involved with Formula One. Yeah. What was that all about?
So, and it goes back again to the Guard has 3 roles. So I always remind people we have what we call the war fight, when you see people deploy, go places. We have the homeland, which can include, wildfires, search and rescue, anything to do with the homeland. And again, if the governor chooses to put people on what we call state active duty, and remember, going back to our previous conversation, one of the places that could be a threat in our nation is Las Vegas. And so Formula One is a huge, what we call Tier 1 event in terms of the ability to bring in people from all over the world to watch an international race. So we were put on state active duty to assist with that event. for over 20 years, we've been doing New Year's Eve. We had people working at the Super Bowl. So anytime we get called and there's additional support needed, the Guard, again, always ready, always there, will come in and provide whatever necessary response or support that is needed. I always remind people that, we don't own events. We work very closely with the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department, especially in Las Vegas or anywhere we're called. So we're there more in a supporting role. So whatever is asked from a security or civil support team may be there, our security forces may be there. Whatever is asked of us, we will do it. But yes, we're very visible. And there's something also about when people see the uniform from a sense of safety, security. We love interacting with the citizens, but we also stay on a heightened awareness and consciousness that if anything would happen, we know what we're responsible to do. But yes, we did have a chance to work the Formula One, and we'll be working it again next year.
Yes, it's a 10-year gig if everything works out. Yep. If Tick Segerblum finally agrees to keep this going. People would be shocked, I think, to know the level of national and international involvement that Las Vegas Metro Police Department has, because it's way more complicated and involved just because of the potential.
Yep. When you think about Las Vegas, there's very few places you can go, I'll say in the United States, because I've been in all 54 territories, District of Columbia, and when you look at and when you talk about Las Vegas, it's a mecca of large destinations from its tourism, entertainment. People come there to enjoy themselves, and so when you talk about target of opportunities, when you talk about places that you have to make sure is safe, because we're a tourism-based state. But that is our number one place right there. So yes, from a national or international standpoint, you have to put the same safety and safeguards in place to ensure that people can come there to enjoy themselves. And then the citizens that live there have the right quality of life, because you don't know what's going to happen next. And then you have to understand they have major sports teams there. So if you think about UFC, we were there in their building last week. When you talk about entertainment, when you talk about something happening big in the United States, when you talk about an attraction, Las Vegas is the place. And so those professionals of the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department, I call them professionals because they are trained to handle pretty much anything that comes their way. And when you sit in the briefings with them and you look at the safeguards that you put in place, and I'm just trying to talk without talking about what they put in place to make sure that you're safe. But those guys are professionals, and you could take that team and put them anywhere in the world, and they would do outstanding work, because they know that they have to stay preventative and proactive in ensuring the safety and security of the citizens, the tourists, and anybody that may come into that locale. So they're pros at what they do.
Let's take another break, and we'll be right back with Major General Ondre Berry, Adjutant General of the Nevada National Guard, after this timeout.
Pro Group Management is the place where companies can find workers' comp solutions that are designed to meet their specific business requirements. As regulations evolve, Pro Group takes a proactive approach to clear the path to make sure your business stays ahead of the curve. Knowing your workers' comp program is optimized, you can focus on other important matters related to your growing business. Pro Group Management, workers' comp that works for you.
Story County is leading Nevada. Home of the Tahoe Reno Industrial Center, Google, Tesla, Panasonic, and other world-leading companies. Story County provides thousands of tech, advanced manufacturing, and logistics careers for Nevadans. We're diversifying and driving Nevada's economy and generating millions in tax revenue and billions in economic activity across northern Nevada. Story County is leading Nevada's future.
Carson Valley Inn, it's your place for the good times. Carson Valley Inn.
This is Nevada Newsmakers.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, we continue our conversation with Major General Ondre Berry. He's Adjutant General of the Nevada National Guard. If I use the phrase ramp extensions, what does that mean?
What that means is that at the IFC, Interim Finance Committee last week, they approved funding for us to design for the ramp extension, which is a big piece in us being able to better qualify it under the basing action to get 8 new C-130Js. And we are in a fight to make sure that, because if we get that airframe, those 8 C-130Js, that really, from a modernization standpoint, lets us know our mission is probably good for the next 30 years.
Wow.
And so we're working very hard with our legislatures, with the governor, with our CODELs, citizens to make sure that we can do everything possible to better qualify and place the Nevada National Guard in a position that we can gain those airframes. And this is a decision that will be made sometime over the next 30 to 90 days. So we're working very diligently to make sure that we position ourselves very well to acquire those airplanes. So,
well, that means that we just have to have you come back and tell us more about this once it occurs.
I look forward to announcing that great news, because we think we're in a great place, but you have to fight hard for that. We're competing against 3 other states right now for that. So, but we believe we have the best product here. We know we have some things to get over. We have to, not only from the ramp standpoint, but also from the hangar standpoint. So working very hard to make sure that our leadership is working with us to make sure that we can best position ourselves to get those airframes. So look forward to coming back and talking about our successes, the Nevada National Guard, and the great work that our airmen, soldiers, and civilians are doing for our citizens. I believe this is the best place to be in the world. You have the greatest military right here in Nevada, and we're doing great things. So I want to come back and talk about it some more.
Thank you for being here. I really appreciate it. It's great to see you.
Thank you for having me.
And we'll be right back.
Imagine a magical garden that feeds Carson City's hungry and homeless, teaches our high school students agriculture, creates hanging floral displays to beautify downtown, and yet charges nothing. It's not magic. It's the Greenhouse Project. It's real, it's growing, and it needs your help. Go online to carsоncitygreenhouse.org so together we can grow it forward.
7 at 7 is a newscast built for your smartphone. It's a 7-minute newscast available every weekday at 7 a.m. and 7 p.m. at lvrj.com. We don't waste your time, and we give you the day's top stories.
We at the RJ have noticed some similarities between us and a certain BTS character, RJ.
Plus the latest in Las Vegas business, weather, health, and entertainment news. 7 at 7 streaming now on your smartphone.
Modern boutique Ahern Hotel and Event Center sits at the heart of the Las Vegas Strip. 2 floors of meeting and event space are ideal for groups and conventions. Stay in one of 200 luxurious rooms and suites. Brand your event throughout the property. Flexible event spaces make for easy planning and personalization. Take over the entire hotel with a full buyout option.
Thanks for watching Nevada Newsmakers. You can catch us online 24 hours a day at nevadanewsmakers.com, or you can download the podcast wherever you like to get your podcast. We'll see you on the next broadcast.